Welcome to Jurassic Peak. Hello everybody and welcome back to Jurassic Peak. Today we are working on the next episode, episode 7 of our 10-part series. Last episode we worked on this beautiful lagoon which I call the Prehistoric Oceans. The Prehistoric Oceans was a great episode. I tried to do it with varying elevations, where at the top we had these sort of land-water mixed marine species, and at the bottom we had the deepest of the depths species. There were some real beauties in this episode. I really loved it. Making it was fun, but I'd say the dinosaurs were something else. Very spectacular. And we did have some new species from the DLCs that were added in. Here we have the Mosasaurus. I did turn on carnivore feeding because, well, I wanted to give you something special to look at. Herbivore, I still have feeding turned off. What am I looking for? Am I looking for that thing? The crocodile. This thing's pretty cool. And then over here we had the Megalodon, and we had the Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus. There it is. So that was pretty cool indeed. I quite enjoyed it. Today though we are working on something different. Today we are going to be starting our aviary area. So I think that it's good taking a break from the land dinosaur species and going from lagoon to aviary. Today we are going to be in this area. It's quite small, so it's only an hour long, this episode, roughly an hour and 5 minutes. So you can see it won't take too long. Now, the aviary is still a bit limited in Jurassic World Evolution 2. There's only so many species that you can have, and it's not a terrible number. It's not too small, but I would still say that the aviary, it's going to be hard to make a map dedicated just to aviaries. Although some people can do it. I watched a lot of people like to do the map dedicated to lagoons, and that they do a really good job. But aviaries are a bit tough, in my opinion. But you might not think so. So here we're just working on this path, getting it nice and gentle when it comes to the incline. I do end up redoing an amount of it, but we're just... every step is a step in the right direction when it comes to terraforming and placing things down. So that's always a good thing. The aviary area is going to be nestled in between these mountains. I think it's really the perfect area. I did do this on purpose, but I don't think I thought this would be an aviary from the beginning when I was terraforming the map in my raw build. I just thought this could be something else, something standalone, but the aviary really is perfect. How it's going to be is there's an upper area and then there's a lower area. I'm sticking with it. I think that's pretty cool, and elevation changes are a pretty important part of my park here. So when I did the raw build, it was very important to give myself a lot of wriggle room, a lot of freedom to decide what I would do next. But of course, once we start to build, we decide, we need a lot less space for this and a lot more space for that. So just like with the, what was it called again? Sorry. Brachy Valley. Sorry, the word just was not coming to me. Just like with the Brachy Valley. I don't know, I was thinking of a different dinosaur, and I was thinking, what the heck? Just like with the Bracky Valley, I want the path to just hug the edge. So less space for walking, more space for flying, basically. It goes very well, though. I don't really like the aviaries in this game. Mainly because it really feels just too small, especially for the DLC flying reptiles, which is the Thanatos Dracon and the Quetzalcoatlus. Those species, I believe one came with the... I think one came with the... what was it? The Park Manager Pack DLC, and the other, I forget which DLC it came with. It might have been... I forget. I do. I'm sorry, I forget. But those two flying reptiles are just gigantic. I feel kind of like animal cruelty when I put them into an aviary because they're just too big, and the aviary is too small. So I do think, from what we've seen from Jurassic World Evolution 3, we've seen their aviaries do not look very big. They look basically the same as in Jurassic World Evolution 2. From a simple look, what would we call that? A preliminary look? Unfortunately. So it would be nice if perhaps in the form of a DLC they could give us something a little more substantial for aviaries, because it's just too small. But they might not be giving us the biggest flying reptile species to begin with anyway, so it works for things like the Pteranodon and things like that, but for the largest flying reptiles, it's just too small. So as we do, we terraform, we paint, or use a terrain brush to undo what has been done and to redo new things. So getting rid of the foliage, because you just sometimes can't tell what the paint is, what the terrain is underneath the foliage. It's too dense, which I like. I like the density, but you get the idea. So we are going to be separating this area, and I also have a few ideas of how to separate the flying reptiles, which I think you'll like. I think it works very well in this episode. Now, flying reptiles to me have never been the big attraction in my parks, but I'm trying to give them something unique, something special. Unfortunately, the decoration, I do some extra decorations after the episode that really make the area look good. So if you don't think it looks amazing by the end of the episode, don't worry. In between episodes, I do a little bit more and make it look great. Now, I'm using these particular aviary domes. I really love them. I forget, I don't think they're Malta. I think they're Jurassic Park domes. But the Malta ones look the same. It's just they look a little more rusted, which I don't really like too much, but it's no problem. It'll probably look good in different environments, but... And this, I'm preferring to go with this nice one. I love these ones because they have this great ventilation, you know? Whenever I go into the bird zone, the aviary in zoos, if a zoo happens to have an open aviary that you can walk through, which I absolutely love it when they do, usually they're just like this, where they're not glass. Like the Jurassic World aviary is pure glass. It looks nice and all, but realistically, it probably gets really hot in there. Of course, this is not finished. This is not the final product. I'm just messing around, but I don't want to cut everything out or else the episode will be too short. But I want to get 2 aviaries in this lower area. So that's looking pretty good. And up at the top here, I'm going with a 3rd aviary standalone. It will be the kings and queens. I suppose it would be the queens of the flying reptiles. Am I wrong when I think that the lore is that all the dinosaurs are female in Jurassic World Evolution 2? Or am I just thinking that for some weird reason, but it's not true? You can let me know if I'm totally wrong about that, but I was under that impression. A little more terraforming. Sometimes you gotta cut the mountain back a little bit. Now, it would be interesting, this sort of aviary design with the open mesh to prevent the dinosaurs from escaping, but to allow ventilation. I wonder what it would smell like here. Would it smell absolutely terrible, or would it be reasonable? When I go to the bird houses, the aviaries in a proper zoo, I can't say I really smell it. It doesn't smell too bad. But you know, if you go to like someone has chickens in their backyard, and then it just stinks like terrible. So I wonder what the smell would be like. But I guess it's related to the amount of dinosaurs, and you know, they're only going to defecate so much, and then you're going to have a zookeeper to go in there with a shovel and scoop it up every day or so. So it's probably not too bad. So this is a good opportunity to say, if you like the Jurassic Peak series, feel free to like and subscribe. We are well on our way. Subscription numbers, we've just passed 100 subscribers not too long ago, and the channel is growing at an amazing rate. So do feel free to join the simulation team here at Thomas Simulates. I have to add hatcheries to every one of these aviaries, but of course I will be deleting them once we get all of our dinosaurs in, because we don't need them. The dinosaurs don't die in my park, but they do starve to death, unfortunately. In fact, all dinosaurs, except for that tiny little one from one of the DLC packs. I don't think that one needs to eat, but all other ones need to eat. And because they're piscivores, they need to eat if you turn on carnivore feeding, I believe. Now, viewing galleries, I'm going for these ones here, but they are so ugly that I do end up changing them. I don't like them. They're terrible. But of course they're good in a different park design. They're no problem at all. I want to make this area look at least semi-decent, so I am going with a nice lovely circular pattern in the middle. It's nothing special, at least when I finish it, but at least it's different. So we are on episode 7 of our series. I have said it in previous episodes, but I will say it again. The series itself is 9 episodes, and the 10th episode is going to be the park tour. So I think you're really going to like it. You're going to love it. the park tour is going to go over all of the details and show you the views. So if you think that, oh, I want to see what it looks like from the viewing gallery or what have you, don't worry, it will be included in the park tour. We are going to do a walkthrough. We are going to show you the little details, and I think you're going to like it. That'll be the final episode, so don't worry if you think the series is too long, you don't want to go through an hour plus times 10, then just watch the final park tour. Here, I'm just trying to get the feeling right with this middle area. I know that central circle is not perfectly lined up, but it'll look less bad when I actually decorate it. So here you can see I've changed the viewing galleries to these ones with the sails. I think the sail viewing gallery really fits a lot better anyways because, you know, the sails, the wind, the symbolism, and it just has a warmer feel. So I've added the sails to every area here. But of course I still have those, the hatcheries. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. So here we have an overview of our park so far. The working paths were just for the hatcheries. Now we're going to decorate inside of the, what were we calling them? The aviaries, the dino domes. The decoration in here. It's a challenge because the water needs to take up a certain amount of space to fit the feeders, and yet even with 3 domes connected, there's really not much space at all. So it is a challenge. Of course some people are better at it than I am, but I am trying. I want it to look unique, I want it to look special, but I also want to give the viewing galleries the best view. And I do want to add some elevation changes to the dome here. You know, little hills that'll be decorated. That is one thing I do often with aviaries, is I do like to decorate the sides with elevation changes. Now we're adding these perches. It's interesting because the perches are in the decoration area, but the dinosaurs do use them. So I think they should have added them to a different area. You know, like how the rocks are in the environmental area. Well, I know they're not environmental, but that area is for dinosaur usage. Now I'm trying to work on a theme here, but it's really about what trees really pop out the best in this area. I do love these trees here, the Tempsky, or Tempskia, or Tempskaya. I don't know, I'm no expert at pronouncing these things, but they do look good. But we don't want to block the view for the viewing galleries. So it's better to put these trees at the back and put lower trees at the front, or lower plants. Yeah, just trying to see what works. No, we don't want that one. So we know we get a nice seed plant there at least. It would be interesting if the dinosaurs could perch on the stumps on this leafy climber, or on the logs. That would be pretty cool. Although, I think I saw a log decoration, a stump decoration in Jurassic World Evolution 3 trailer. One of the videos, it had a log, which was pretty cool. Well, not a log, a stump, but it was a big one. Now we're putting in our rocks. This enclosure seems a little bit too small. And of course the flying reptiles can perch on the rocks as well. Some of them love rocks, they need rocks. Just checking the view. Now we're into our next enclosure. This one I believe is bigger. Yes, it is definitely bigger. It might be one or two aviaries difference. Is this the one on top of the hill? Yes, this is the one on top of the hill. This is where the queen, queen of the flying reptiles are gonna be. I forget, again, like I said earlier, what their gender is. I think they're all female, but anyway, they're going to be here. The queens of the flying reptiles. In Jurassic World Evolution 3, we will not have this problem because the not flying reptiles, all the dinosaurs and species will be able to breed naturally. So there will be both male and female. And then I won't be getting my words mixed up all the time. So you must be curious about what dinosaurs we have in the episode today. While we're waiting, I can tell you We have the Thanatos Dracon. We have the Quetzalcoatlus, or Quetzalcoatlus. No, I don't know. Anyways, we also have the Tapejara, the Geosternbergia, the Pteranodon. We have the Pterodactylus. We have the Marodactylus. We have the Tropiognathus and the Dimorphodon. So, great. If you are a Jurassic World Evolution 2 expert, you will know every one of those dinosaurs off by heart. You'll say yes, 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 yes. And if you are not a Jurassic World Evolution 2 expert, you will probably not know what I'm talking about because I'm not pronouncing anything right. But I never said these words out loud before, so it's the first time for everything. Here we're decorating, getting those seed plants on the hills. They look very good. I am trying to make every enclosure different. I love it. Every time you go through the bars, it makes that hum noise. That So, it's kind of annoying because the aviary is so small. When you're decorating, you just go through it constantly. Well, time to get our rocks down. Again, I want it to look good. But I want it to be natural as well. Now the seed plants are really taking off in this enclosure, but again, I do not like the one type of seed plant here that has all those palm leaves coming off of it, you know, those, or not palm leaves, but it just looks ugly, the ones I'm deleting. I just like the one that looks like a proper tree, but by mixing it up with the other trees in between, I do want to preserve those more proper looking seed plant trees, but those ones that look like, I don't know, too tropical, I don't like it. It looks just too nutty. So I'd rather anything except for that. So we're just adding some dirt in. I forget if I've already put dirt down in the other enclosures or aviaries, but we will get around to it. Here we're putting down our perches. We want them to be visible, but we don't want them to take up that central site area. Okay, we're now into the final enclosure here. This is my favorite enclosure of the group. I just like how it turned out. It turned out very well. I'm surrounding the area with the elevation change. I don't care about the employee path very much or at all. So if it gets messed up by the elevation change, I don't mind so much. But I really like how it surrounds the entire area with these hills. It really looks good. Adding rocks first. Interesting decision making there, but I guess we can work with it. I want it to be nice and rocky. But again, we don't want to obstruct the view for the viewing gallery. But I think you're going to love this enclosure, how it turns out. It's perfect. It's probably the best aviary I've ever done. We're getting into our flow state with the rocks. That rhythmic boom, 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 boom. That's how you know we're really working well. Gonna get our perches in. Again, we want them to be visible, but they're not the center object here. They're meant to serve a purpose. Now for decoration, we are going with sand. I think this will be a cool little thing. We're going to change it up, make it feel like we're at the beach. So more tropical. And of course, if we're using sand, we may as well put some palm trees down. So here we go. We're really making this area look nice and tropical. Palm trees are just the best tree in the game. Or are they? I think they're definitely a very strong contender for the best tree in the game. I think that there are some very strong trees, though. It's a good question. I think the game really does well with the foliage. It's really hard to say which is the best tree group, but the palm tree is a really easy tree to work with because it really puffs up very well. It's a very easy to control tree. Just look at how that bush just perfectly fits in between the rocks. It doesn't get any better. Alright, releasing the dinosaurs.
What's a show without fireworks? That's what this next animal gives us. Aerial color and excitement. And check out that sail behind its head. Spectacular. Oh, I meant to say that this is a tapejara, one of our more interesting flying species. If you couldn't have guessed by now, I'm a fan. I think you should be too.
This is a really cool dinosaur. I love the color. I don't think there's a flying dinosaur, well, I shouldn't call them dinosaurs, flying reptile that I don't like. I don't think there's one that I don't like. They're all very unique and lovely in their own way. But just the colors. Here we have another one, and look at the color. The color on the sails here are just spectacular. And again, I may not have said it in this episode yet, but I do try to say it often. I'm playing on PlayStation 5. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to see what the dinosaur will look like with the color selection until you release it. So you just have to guess. You might be able to see it in the dinosaur previewer on the main menu, but when you're in game, I don't think
The more I've studied these animals, the more I've noticed that there's a fine line between fascination and fear. Prehistoric flying reptiles like the archetypal pteranodon have captivated my imagination since I was young. Yet there's something about these creatures that makes me feel somewhat cagey, shall we say?
Now, when I was growing up, this was the flying reptile. It was my favorite one. So this is in my top 10 favorite dinosaurs. But when I was growing up, the crest on the back of its head was portrayed as being longer. So I don't know what changed. Look at the head on that thing. It's like a boat. It's like the front of a boat. Here we're in our next enclosure. This is
Honestly, the flying animals concern me the most from a security standpoint. We can round up escaped land animals, but when they take to the sky, all bets are off. This is the Seiarodactylus, and we need to make sure it stays confined to the aviary. The only known species of this animal before today was named after the Latin name for frightful. That should tell you something.
So the Seiarodactylus, this is the other aviary. I chose the one aviary to have dinosaurs without teeth, or flying reptiles without teeth. And then in this aviary, we have flying reptiles with teeth.
Okay, this latest animal is also a flyer, the Marodactylus. Its name is based on an ancient legend of a chief's daughter. Her name was Mara, turned by sorcery into a river monster with long teeth that devoured fishermen. Change a few of the details and this could be my ex.
Yeah. So, anyway, these dinosaurs in this aviary will have teeth.
The Tropiognathus is one of the larger pterosaurs and is known for its keel-tipped snout. In the aviary, it should make for one heck of a draw.
This is beauty. I really did good with the colors on this one. The white body is almost phantom-like. And then that snout sail is just such an eye-opening, or an eye-catcher with its color. They really want to be up here on the viewing gallery.
think a mouthful of teeth would be scary enough, but this animal, the Dimorphodon, actually has 2 distinct types of teeth in its jaws. And it flies. Well, more accurately, glides.
Well, in Jurassic World Evolution 2, it flies. I like this one because its head really reminds me of a proper dinosaur, like a carnivore that we're going to see in the next episode. But this is a small one compared to the others. And here is the other variant. I think this one's even smaller than the other one, but this one has fur, which is pretty cool. I'd like to see them side by side, but I'm pretty sure this is smaller. That's one thing about variants, is they can be different size. We're gonna get a nice shot coming up. There it is. So here's the size difference between these two flying reptiles. Now we're in the enclosure.
I've been trying to brush up on my Greek lately, and you know what? I think it's going pretty well. As soon as I heard we had a Thanatos Drakon, I was like, great, a dragon of death. And it slowly dawned on me what I just said. So, you're good to look after this one, right? I mean, I can't afford for this to end in tragedy.
So this is a real beauty. This is the hilltop aviary. I put the largest of the flying reptiles in here. These ones are real beauties. But this is the real star of the show.
They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that certainly applies to their fossil finds. This towering pterosaur is definitely one for the record books. We're talking about one of the largest flying animals, like, ever. It's not a bird, and it's not a plane. It's a Quetzalcoatlus.
So, like I said earlier, it feels like animal cruelty to keep this gigantic flying reptile in an aviary. It's way too big. So ideally, I'd really love it if we could have some larger aviaries in the future, or perhaps open air enclosures where, I don't know, they're kept in by some sort of invisible force field. Now I'm just deleting the hatcheries. We don't need them anymore. So we're gonna get rid of those. And I think, you know what we should have here, because the aviary area in our park is a little bit disconnected from the rest of the park. So you come all the way over here. I don't know how far you're going to be walking, but it's probably a good kilometer, right? You come all the way over here, and then you have to walk all the way back to the visitor hub. So naturally, we're going to need a rest stop, especially if you go all the way up to the top. You're going to want a rest stop. Here, I'm just changing the elevation, terraforming. We want this area to feel like it's truly enclosed into this mountainous region of the park. So just like we do previously, where we terraform more than we need to make space, once we figure out how much space we truly need, we can redo the area around it to, well, make it feel like mountainous again. So here we're bringing the mountain back up. And that looks good. Of course, we have to retexture it with the rock brush. I'm bringing up these walls a little bit so that guests staying at the hotel can't get a cheeky peek in. You know, you're so close. But also, I imagine that would keep the stink from floating over to the hotel area. We want to take good care of our guests. Bringing up the elevation here on the side. I know we've talked about visibility. We want the guests to have a great visible view of the dinosaur enclosures as they walk by. But I do want to emphasize this area is mountainous. Even here in the middle of the path, I am trying to add this little hill here without getting too extreme. Remember, Granny is coming with her mobility scooter. She's coming to the park. She's bringing her grandkids. And we need her mobility scooter to be able to traverse these paths. So no major elevation changes. And we want the path to be flat, not at a slope, at an angle. Or else Granny's going to fall off. And we don't want that, do we? Here we're changing our textures. Looks so good. Now, one thing to tell you, it's kind of sad, but I should tell you now, not every dinosaur you see in this episode makes it to the end. I'm afraid when we do our park tour, there's going to be a couple dinosaurs less from the aviary, unfortunately. The aviary and the lagoon have an issue where dinosaurs get stuck against the walls or elsewhere. They do get stuck, and it's really annoying, but unfortunately it happens, and they starve to death. If you have the game set to carnivores eating, like I do, then you're gonna lose a few of them. And I don't have the hatcheries anymore. I deleted them, right? So I can't just add the dinosaurs that die from starvation. It's too bad. But I won't tell you who disappears from our park. I'll let you watch the park tour and you can see if you can spot who's missing. It's too bad, but it happens. It's really an aviary problem. The flying reptiles, they go to the edges of the aviary and they just get stuck in the air, or they're on top of a viewing gallery and they get stuck. It's unfortunate. There is a way to get them unstuck. It's really easy. All you have to do is save your game when you get that notification that a dinosaur has low health. When they have low health, I think it's like they're 40% starving and they'll die in a few minutes from being starved. But when they have low health, you save your game, you immediately load your game, and then they should be back to normal. They'll get unstuck that way. Or at least that's how I do it. I don't know a better way. It is kind of a waste of time, but it does work. So if you don't want your dinosaurs to die from starvation, you can do that. Here we're just texturing. Looks good, but we want a little bit of variation. We only have 2 rock brushes in the tropical map. I do know, of course, even you would know if you play the game, that there are different brushes for different biomes. So, in the tropical biome, like I'm at, you have 2 rock brushes, a sand brush. In other biomes like desert, you'll have more sand. In alpine and in tundra, you'll have more snow. So, it's pretty cool. It's good. It really encourages you to build in more than just one biome. So we have all the dinosaurs. What is there left to do? Well, earlier in the episode, I did tell you that we're going to make a rest stop. And that is the plan. So we are going to make a rest stop. So when you come up to the aviary area, maybe your kids, your grandkids, or you love flying reptiles. It's your favorite, right? So you love flying reptiles, and so you want to spend all day here. You just want to go from viewing gallery to viewing gallery, and you just want to see flying reptiles. Well, I got good news for you. You can. And you can eat your sandwiches, your lunch sandwiches from the rest stop. Because, you know, every cafe and coffee shop, they're going to be cooking up paninis, right? Grilled cheese sandwiches. So, when you're here, you're hungry, then you can do that. And drink your coffee. Again, like I said previously, I changed every restaurant to a coffee shop. 2 types, coffee on the go and fancy coffee, I guess. And the fancy coffee is more expensive, but you dine in. It's a good alternative to that cheaper coffee, if you got the money. Here, we're just trying to get our decorations right with the dirt. Well, I shouldn't say decoration, I should say texturing. So now we're just doing this plaza area. Don't worry, it looks a lot better after I finish decorating. I do want these palm trees here, because down here is kind of supposed to have this feel. So on this side we have a little more of these pine tree like guys, the Tempskaya, and then on the other side we have the palm trees. But we got to keep everything away from the path, because like we said previously, only in the swamp is the path overgrown. We want to really keep the path clear in other areas as much as we can. There is a limit to what we can do. Well, that tree looks pretty good. Do I get rid of that? I must. It's really big. And too close to the path. On this little hill. Nice to get some variation. We're having some pretty good luck with these trees popping up where we want them to. Unfortunately, you can't get trees too close to the aviaries. That's too bad. So you see, if I had trees growing on the mountainside here, it'd be good. But because nothing's growing, I just get rid of it. Get rid of all the trees there. Because if nothing's going to grow, it looks pretty ugly. Here, we're just putting in our... Is that medium? We're doing medium here. It's good to do medium. We're pretty much away from everything. Now we're going to need to make a nice sitting area. But I'll admit, this area was difficult to decorate. It just... I don't know, it was hard to get the feeling right I think a big issue is, although it's flat, I couldn't put the Malta walls down very well. I just couldn't really get a great feeling with this shape. But we do make it work in the end, don't worry. But that was a challenge I was experiencing. So we go with this shape here. We've got a water feature in the middle. I did try to get that, I don't know, natural feeling here. But again, water features are kind of difficult to do, especially when you want to go around it with the road or the path. It actually changes its shape a little bit. So if you can't get the path so perfectly close to the water, unfortunately. So we are limited in that way. But I'm just trying something new. I want it to be special. Now you can see we can't really get much tree growth here, unfortunately. So we're going with decoration trees here in order to bulk up the area. And we get rid of that unnatural tree there. And now we are going to put our seating in. I know it's not perfectly lined up. Sometimes I'm really good at it, sometimes I'm not. So here, because I can't do the Malta walls, just the terraforming, it won't allow it. I go with these fences. And I think, well, the idea of the fence is to prevent you from falling down this cliff, and also to prevent you getting too close to the aviaries. But I want to keep the fences lower so that they don't really come up too much over the wall. So we're even going to delete some of these and do it again, because I only want half the fence to be above the ground level. So that doesn't look too bad. Now, in order to make it a little bit prettier, we're going to put up some more decorations. Here I get this great idea. Of course, we have these flying reptile on a pole decorations, and what better place to use them than here? And naturally, if we're going to put those there, then why don't we decorate them here? So this really helps tie the area together. But what I decide to do is I do these perches going around. I use them as a decoration piece because they really do work well. And then in between them, I'm going to put those flying reptile decorations. So I think that just looks pretty cool. Now I'm going with seating here. I know there's no coffee shops within a couple 100 meters, but I think it could be good. Maybe you're here, you want to go on your phone a little bit, upload your pictures to Instagram, right? So you can sit here under the shade. Perfect. So that central area looks so much better when we decorate it like that. And that's really the most important thing I'd say I did to it. The area just did not look too good without those decorations. Here, I'm just considering this area. It's pretty bland, so we're going to put in some of these other decorations. And then in the middle, perfect space for this fountain. And of course we're going to need seating. This is certainly the best place in the aviary area because you have access to these 2 aviaries, 4 viewing galleries really close. So this is a nice place to sit. Okay, and last up we are going to decorate this area with some of these rock planters just to keep you from getting too close to the fence. And there's not really much we can do on this edge anyways. We can't decorate with the Malta walls because it needs to terraform and it can't. So this really does help. And then as the end pieces, we're going to use these rock planters with some plants in them, which looks pretty good. And then the same over here. And that is going to be the end of our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a shorter one, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Nice and short. But again, like I said in my 100 subscriber video, my videos are very long, and I'd like to get future videos down to about 45 minutes maximum. I think that's the perfect time for narrated videos. So here's my park. Again, I did decorate it a little more after the episode was finished, but I'll show you that at the beginning of the next episode. So thank you again for watching. I'm really happy to have you watching my videos, viewing it, and I do look forward to seeing you in the next episode.